I'd like to briefly tell you about the Christian general, General Oliver Otis Howard. Howard was raised on a family farm in Maine. He worked alongside his siblings, including his brother Roland, and a black servant. He would enroll in Bowdoin College at the age of 16 in 1846. Bowdoin was known and renowned for educating their prospective clergymen. So Howard was exposed and formally educated in Scripture and Christian living and God, and I believe this impacted him throughout his life and his career. He would eventually go to West Point, and after graduation, he served at various posts. He would eventually end up back at West Point as a professor of mathematics. While at West Point, he served in the chaplain's office, and he volunteered at the local church as a Bible study teacher and the superintendent for Sunday school. So he was into ministry, and in fact, he was considering leaving the army and getting into ministry full time. But the Civil War broke out, and that changed. He felt that he had a duty to serve his country, and he felt that it was a calling from God. While in the Civil War and while serving, he would have Bible studies, and he would evangelize, and he led Bible studies in his unit, and he had black men that were there too, the cooks and stewards that were in part of his unit. He believed in educating everyone and spreading the word to everyone, not just the white people in his unit. He was inspired very much so by a book he read about a Captain Vickers who served in the British Army in the Crimean War. He died in 1855, and this impacted and really influenced General Howard. Howard vowed to live up to this model. He would eventually come under a lot of fire during his time in fighting in the Civil War, most notably Chancellorsville, where he was under a lot of criticism for his leadership. In fact, he faced a lot of during his whole career. He faced opposition and a lot of pressure, insurmountable odds. But I think that if you commit your plans to the Lord, He will see it through. In fact, Proverbs 16:3 says, "Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans." He was led by God throughout his career and his life, and I think that's clearly evident. Eventually, he would go on to be the commissioner of the Freedmen's Bureau, which was a bill that was passed by Congress in 1865. There again, he was against so many odds there, lack of resources, and there was a lot of corruption with agents. But he was very successful in opening schools. Many kids, black kids, were educated. In fact, eventually, and some universities were opened and built because of the Freedmen's Bureau. And Howard University was named after him in Washington, D.C. On his 70th birthday in New York, 200 of his friends gathered together, and he was honored by organizations and distinguished guests, including Booker T. Washington. And I want to read this quote from him. He said during that gathering, "The name of Howard is in the hearts of the Negro race beside the names of Garrison, Grant, and Lincoln. We went into slavery a piece of property. We came out American citizens. Thanks to such men as General Howard, we came out with the spelling book in one hand and the Bible in the other." I believe this really sums up what General Howard did in his career, in his life, and what he contributed to education and reform.